Welcome to the Electronic Video Agent installation. Left, right, center. Sound hardware initialized. This program will upgrade Command & Conquer to high-definition video, audio, and graphics. Upgrading. Please stand by. For last-minute changes and notes, please examine the README file.
Walking was not exactly what it seemed more like
Upgrade complete. Welcome back, Commander.
The Grain Trade Center in Vienna was the 17th...
Okay, hello everyone and welcome to another randomised gaming video. I'm actually going to nip away for a second just while this intro plays out. But this, of course, is the recent remake of Command & Conquer, and we'll be looking at it in its entirety today. Well, I'll be looking at the first part. Depending how this video goes, I might look at it again tomorrow. We're looking at Red Alert. So this is the recent HD remake of Command & Conquer. It's absolutely fantastic, I have to admit. It really is good. Really does upgrade it very nice. It's kind of what I particularly wanted. It doesn't change too much, just adds in a few features, but largely just improves all the problems the original game had. Although it does leave a lot of the warts and everything in it, just adds in a few additional features. It largely leaves the original game intact in its entirety, so you do get it warts and all. But that's for me, that's a really good thing, because I think you really want to see this game as it was intended. And to be honest, it's still a very, 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 very good game. It still really is probably the most important strategy game. I know June came before it. Or was it June 2? June 2, and this builds upon the June 2, but really this was basically the greatest of them. This basically, I think June, although it was a good game, you didn't see around that much, whereas here we have the full McCoy. I will actually leave the subtitles on, just so in case anyone's hard of hearing or anything like that, so they can leave the subtitles on just to see what's being said. I'm going to go through, probably do a mix of missions. Please do comment if you've got any suggestions or anything if you want me to change missions. I can show you a mix of stuff, so I can show you the initial GDI, maybe do some of the bonus stuff. There's a ton of bonus content. I'm just going to literally nip out in a second and check the audio is correct, but I believe it is when I checked a moment ago. I can see my voices. If there are any issues with the audio, please do let me know. I'm just going to check a second. Yeah, it looks good.
Initiative selected.
Are you picking this up? Good. I know you need more deep background, but we're up against
it. Can we be back in a sec, ladies and gentlemen?
This beachhead at X-16Y42. Intelligence is still coming in, so we can't tell you a lot. But we found a chink in their armor. Commander Carter can sneak you and some backup forces on shore right here.
But if there
may get
are
some
any problems with
artillery
the stream,
support from
please
his
do
gunboats,
just
but
comment
this is
below.
mostly
Just so if you
grunt
can't hear any of the
Mission
background
simple.
audio, please do let
Knock
me
out
know
all
in the stream,
fortifications.
because this is the
Eliminate
first time
all
I've actually
non-troops
streamed
and
PC
establish a
games.
beachhead by building your
So if
base.
there are any issues,
Good
please
luck.
let me know so we can refine them. I don't really want to be going back through the stream later and double checking. I believe everything should be working fine. The only downside is I have to play this in a windowed version, which is a little bit annoying to stream, so I've basically got to play it in a window while having the stream in the background, which is a little bit tricky. It's not as easy as playing the consoles when streaming. Here we go, the first mission, but we don't want the old graphics, we want the new ones for now. Probably want to see the new graphics rather than the old ones. We don't
Commander,
get the classic upgrade,
upgraded
that's
battle
the
control
high
to high
definition. Yep, we want the
definition.
high definition one.
Reinforcements have arrived.
One of the things about this is it just threw you into missions so quickly, so fast. And it did a good variety of missions. Not every mission was about building a base, because often if you have RTSs that are solely about building bases, they just get a bit boring by the time you've done 10 missions building bases straight. Whereas here you had a great mix of missions that was, you had a whole campaign, so you had missions that weren't base building, missions that were base building, some strategic. They're just a great variety. It really is a superb game. And this new version does include supposedly all the console levels, although I do need to check against the Saturn and PlayStation 1 to check they are all in there, but I believe it's got everything. This has been a loving version done by both Petroglyph and Lemon Sky, so it's got most of the original developers involved in it on top of EA, so we've published it and it really is a really, really beautifully crafted project, and only £17 in $17.99 in the UK. I believe it's $20 in the US, I think.
Moving out. Reporting. Moving out. Roger. Roger. Affirmative. Not a problem. Moving out. Roger. Roger. Moving out. Roger. Moving out. Affirmative. Moving out. You got it. You got it.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, apologies if it does pause a bit. I'm having to flick between screens to check stuff, so there won't be too many comments today in the RG main account, as because of how annoyingly this is. Perhaps I think streaming could be a touch easier, I have to admit. The only way I can see doing it is via a window mode and then getting the game to stream the windowed version. But you've got a nice little one, the classic sort of CG intro is just running now, and just let that run out and give them a nice base stammering mission, the first mission.
Great shot. Return to base immediately. Great shot. Return to base immediately.
Okie dokie. Actually, one letter short to do randomised gaming. I should have done our initials then. So as you see here, you've got a complete redesign of the HUD. It still looks, they've still copied the original design, they've just tasted it up somewhat. So it's really nice that they kept to the original design, but just made it look a bit shinier. This really is a really good version of Command Conquer. It's just what this basically, take note, if you're doing remasters or remakes, this is what a lot of people want with this type of content.
Beachhead, Commander. Time to bring you up to speed on Nod so you know what you're dealing with. This is Kane, the self-appointed leader of the Brotherhood of Nod. Stand by, I'll link us up.
Condition critical. Know why Nod had this speech bottled up? They're protecting a big Tiberium refinery that intelligence somehow missed. We need backup now. Nod troops are pouring out of their base, strangling our foothold. We gotta knock out that refinery, eliminate all Nod forces before we lose our position. I don't know how long we can hold out.
You heard the man. What are you waiting for?
Our base is under attack.
So here we go with our base from the previous mission that has now been absolutely decimated. So
Repairing.
one thing that has been noted is the intros in the original Command & Conquer look a lot better than the ones in Red Alert because of the new scaling effect they've used. So unfortunately the intros in Red Alert, because in Command & Conquer the characters were all up close to the camera and you just had like one person chatting, the intros look far better, whereas the Red Alert ones, because there's a lot more going on, they've obviously had trouble trying to upscale. I do wish, my only slight gripe is the fact that you don't get the original, you don't get the option for unupscaled intros, and I would personally, for some of the CG ones, prefer to have unupscaled ones. If you actually go back and look at, we did a little while back, we did a video of Red Alert, and the unupscaled videos actually look better. Probably just basically an unaltered video that's just been upscaled to say 1080p probably looks better than the new way they've scaled some of the CG stuff, although the briefing ones in Command & Conquer do look much better. So it's, you kind of with me, some intros look better, some look worse, I think is my takeaway from it. But other than that slight niggle, that is literally it. That's my only real complaint. That's the one slight, and even though it's only really a minor thing, it's the rest of this version is absolutely superb. There's just no doubting it. It really is a fantastic title, and just really congrats to everyone who worked on it. It really is good.
Building.
It really is good.
Unit ready.
One
Building.
of the times they've taken a really
Unit
iconic game,
ready.
one that I do have very fond memories of, and they've just updated it perfectly and kept the original game intact. So it's still the game that I remember from playing in 95, 96. I actually played this around a friend's house first before I actually played it myself, and it was just like, wow, this is a really good game. We played it on PC around with friends and thought, wow, this is really good, we're going to see if we can get the Saturn's version of it, and sure enough we did. And it's easy to see why Command & Conquer became such a important really game in the history of RTSs. I think the one thing that probably let it down, and some people I've heard a couple of other people say, is Westwood, perhaps in the RTS genre, were fiddling around too much with sort of changing the settings in Red Alert instead of actually improving the game. And they also made, I think Red Alert was too much of an expansion pack and not enough of a sequel. And ultimately Command & Conquer Westwood, I think, struggled with their later games because unfortunately Blizzard got the drop on them with StarCraft, and StarCraft really took what everything Westwood had done with Command & Conquer and just built it up a teeny bit better with more in-depth missions, in sort of scripting events within the missions and a lot more interesting things. So I think
Unit lost.
and you really did have the evolution in StarCraft of additional things. And StarCraft, actually, weirdly enough, there is one where the original game is probably better than the sequel as well, because even Blizzard couldn't quite recapture the magic. Hi, Smashing Gamer. Thanks for joining us. Mashers Gaming, I should say. Yes, we're playing Command and Conquer. We're just going to go through basically through a selection of missions. So if anyone wants to see particular campaign missions, please do give a shout out. Although I literally only got the very start of all the campaigns, but I can do the dinosaur missions, and we can look at some of the sort of expansion missions if you want. I'm just going to probably do the original game. If we have demand, I'll put a note up on thing and say if there's demand, I'll do Red Alert tomorrow. We'll see if there's enough demand. Who wants to see Red Alert, please do let me know. But I think I'll do Command Conquer tonight rather than swap between them. As this is a game that literally an hour to play. Maybe I'll do a bit longer, but just playing for an hour is you can barely do a handful of missions. It's really a game that once you get used to it, you will be spending costs on the mechanics.
Unit lost.
So that was one of the things with the original Command and Conquer,
Right away, sir.
but thanks for the supports Smashing Gaming. Or I should say Smashers Gaming. You should actually read people's names to Smashers Gaming. Thank you for the support. Oh, that's another one. No, I'm going to capture their construction. Capture the refinery.
Mod building captured. Reinforcements have arrived. Building.
Yes.
Construction complete. New construction options. Our base is under attack. Unit lost. Building. Construction complete.
Can I actually
New
build
construction
engineers?
options.
Yes, I'm going to actually be a bit
Building.
cheeky. So one of the tricks with, I think that harvester's still out there.
Unit ready.
I'm actually going to capture their base well and truly. You can capture,
Building.
so basically a trick with Command and Conquer, the original engineers are basically absolutely brutal. In
Unit
Red Alert
ready.
you could only capture buildings
Building.
when they're on like red health, because originally you could literally send in
Unit ready.
just a posse of engineers and they
Building.
would literally decimate.
Unit
You could
ready.
literally send a whole, like a posse
Building.
of engineers and they would capture. Ooh, actually,
Mod building captured.
no, cancel.
On hold.
Hold. There
Cancelled.
comes the harvester.
Ready and wait.
And then I'm going to wait till the harvester goes in, and then I'm going to capture it. And if you wait till the harvester's in, you capture the harvester as well, which was an old trick.
Right away, sir.
Just wait till it's filling up.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Mod building
Now
captured.
let's get that repaired.
New construction options. Silos
I'm going to
needed.
steal their money as well.
Reporting. Roger. Ready
So I've
and
now
wait.
captured the harvest. So basically, if you wait till the refineries like that, you can capture the harvester on top.
Mod building
of them. Now I've got a
captured.
GDI harvester as well. Just need that.
Mission
Mission
accomplished.
Okay, we've taken everything. That refinery and harvester, everything is now ours. Also, guys, if there is any problems with the audio, please do let me know in the comments. Much appreciated. If I'm sounding too loud, or if the game volume's too loud and you can't hear me, please do let me know a bit. Just quickly adjust it for a sec. Just turn the game down a touch. Testing, yeah, that's good. So the other thing you'll notice is completely knock out the refinery. You can actually see they've got a lot of the green screen versions of some of the intros. Interestingly, one or two of the green screen versions, I noticed Shepard has different top-ins, so I can only assume they've got some unfinished footage. Originally it appears that he was just going to have like a standard military jacket on, and they've given him a proper more decorative jacket. So there's actually a whole host of gallery extras here. I'm I won't actually show any of these because if you decide to pick this up, I'll let you enjoy them yourself that way. But I will show the absolute array of missions. So they were the first couple of GDI missions. So just to show you, by the way, click there, 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 and there on this one to unlock the dinosaur hidden missions, which you may remember from the original. They've also, one of the cool things about this version, so you can go to mission select, you can not only select a GDI campaign, we've got the Nod campaign, we've got the covert ops, we've got console missions, which is another. You've got the fun park dinosaurs, and we've got the custom missions. Should I do the fun park dinosaurs? Why not? As always, guys, if you like our content, please do hit that like button. If you enjoy our content, I always very much appreciate likes. And again, if you've not seen our channel before and this is the first time you're watching and you like what we're doing, please do hit the subscribe button as well.
I want you to take some of your troops in and report your findings.
Reinforcements have arrived.
Now, I think that intro there was only added for console.
Reinforcements have arrived.
Or more specifically, I think it was added in for the PlayStation version. So, a little known fact is the Saturn and PlayStation version had some additional content and changes. Now, the Saturn's version was actually a coup d'etat by Sega and came out first. What that meant was there was a couple of additional units like the Virusoid, and I need to check the Virusoid's actually in this version, because if it isn't, they will be getting a little note from me saying you need to add this unit in, guys. There was like a virus spraying unit which was quite funny. However, the Saturn's version, one of the extras the PlayStation version had was the extra version actually had the covert ops expansion. Sega, I think, didn't exclude another exclusive deal, and so it came out first on Saturn, but as a result it didn't have the covert op missions, which later on became a real negative because the PlayStation version had the additional missions and the Saturn's version didn't. The plus side the Sega Saturn's version has is the frame rate is vastly smoother, especially towards the final missions. So the PlayStation version really struggles because it's got less RAM than the Saturn, and so the last couple of stages when the AI has lots of enemies on screen. The Saturn's version struggles as well a bit, but the PlayStation version's frame rate and slowdown missions are far more noticeable. But that's only for a handful of missions towards the end of the campaign. So it's not too bad, although the last couple of missions are a real slog with when the enemies initially have to blow up a few of the forward bases before the frame rate increases. But yeah, the PlayStation version is performance-wise worse than the Saturn's, but other than that, the PlayStation version I mentioned does have the covert op expansion missions, which the Saturn one doesn't, so it is a bit of a double-edged sword. Both versions have. Now, the Saturn version did, I think, had a few additional missions via cheat codes, so there were a few added in, but not many. I'm going to keep these guys away from the dinosaur. Oh, no, don't walk into him. I don't want you getting run over by him. The Red Alert one notoriously had the Ant campaign as well. I think it's called K from Red Alert or something.
Roger. Roger. Moving out. Roger. Moving out. Affirmative. Moving out. You got it. You got it. Affirmative.
The original game, see here, we are finding and discovering dinosaurs.
You got it.
Although I have to admit, the expansion missions really were tough. So I've actually got the original PC version as well, and there's quite a few fan installs that had additional missions and all sorts for the PC version. So I've even got one PC fan mod that did add in the original PlayStation missions, PlayStation intros, I should say, for. So one of the extras for the Red Alert expansions that I should just mention was that in the PlayStation version, the two Red Alert expansions were bundled together. So it was it Retaliation and I can't remember Aftermath. I think Aftermath is the joint name, or is it like Counter-Strike? I think it's Retaliation and Counter-Strike were the names. Aftermath is the name of the PlayStation PS1 version, but don't quote me on that. It may be basically those are the three names. Two of the expansions, and one was the name of the expansion on the PS1. Basically, on the PS1, they bundled the two. They released the expansions were released as a separate game on PS1, and they were released in a double pack, basically together. And because, of course, they were adding an additional mission, because it was just the two expansions and not the main game, what they did was they did a number of new intros for some of the missions, which were really nice, but they were only in the PlayStation version originally. I should note, only Red Alert got a console release. By then, the Sega Saturn had long since, unfortunately, been bested. Well, not in Japan, but basically the market was so small in the West. So only Command Conquer got released on the Saturn, whereas Red Alert and its expansions got released on the PlayStation and the original Command Conquer and Counter. So basically, yeah, you got. Although Tiberium Sun, which was the follow-up, although this one's called Tiberium Dawn, I don't like the Tiberium Dawn name, and I don't call this Tiberium Dawn, so I just call it CNC, because that's what this is. This is CNC. I'm going to have to go in that way, and we're going to be fighting a very menacing T-Rex in a second. So there is a zoom feature, and you can zoom in and zoom out. One thing to note, and I've seen a couple people complain about, is they said the zoom's a bit zoomed in initially, and that's because you can only zoom in as big as the map is. So on some stages where you have quite small maps, you can't zoom out that far, and I think that's related to a bug with the original game, whereas if you tried to zoom out originally, okay, my guys are going to get, come on, how many of them are going to get, oh,
out. Yes, sir.
Again, this one before I had one bike left, and basically I killed the last remaining dinosaurs with just the one bike.
Acknowledge. Moving out.
Shoot, drive, shoot.
Yes, sir. Moving out. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Moving out. Yes, sir. Moving out. Yes, sir. Acknowledge. Acknowledge. Moving out. Moving out. Moving out. Affirmative. Moving out.
Now the music has been lovingly remixed as well. On top of you get the few hidden tracks and stuff that have been included or unreleased tracks. Really is just a phenomenal package this. And if you like the original game, you got to admire it. It does it, as I said, it is the original game plus warts and all. So if you're not a fan of some of the warts for this, well, you're going to have to get used to them, or you'll have to code them out yourself, as because of they've treated this as such a loving fan package, one of the things they have included is they've made the source code public, which kudos to Petroglyph who have done this, and Lemon Sky as well. Lemon Sky, I think, did some of the art. From what I saw, they were sort of looked like an art outsourcing studio, but kudos to Petroglyph and the original guys who did it. They have done all this, and it really shows what happens when you get the original staff members back on board to do an update. And probably why this is far closer update to, say, some of the Capcom and like other games from the Japanese developers, where often they don't keep hold of the original staff and they don't go back and contact them, so then you get remakes like the Resident Evil 2 remake. I'm going to be brutally honest, is a bit pants. Yes, it's okay, it's sort of like the Shinji Mikami version of RE 4, but it's a bit naff. Leon doesn't look very good, Claire doesn't look very good, they don't look according to how they've been looking in all the other Resident Evil games. I would have much preferred to see them remake like the original Resident Evil got a remake on GameCube. Indeed, they even had the assets for that in the Dark Side Chronicles. And my general feeling is Capcom really are a shadow of their former selves now. They have joined Konami in making a lot of mistakes now. Whereas this is just, as a fan of the original, and even to new players, this is just the perfect. It adds in a number of new features while still keeping true to the original game. And if you don't like elements of the original game, well, you can patch them out now. Oh, I've just the extra. No, move. You're going to have to get close and shoot. Yeah. Shoot, then run. No, no, don't get that close. Don't get that close.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Now move.
Got it.
Yeah, the AI does have its... No, don't get... Sometimes it will stay there and shoot, other times it will... No, no, don't get that close. Stay there.
Yes, sir. Moving out.
Yeah, that's it, shoot.
Affirmative.
Mission
There we go, mission accomplished. That was close.
Reinforcements have arrived.
I would just show the jukebox. You actually have available tracks. We've got 100. So yeah, available tracks. You can even add in the Command and... I believe it's got the... Yes, especially you get the Command and Conquer and... So you get Tiberium Dawn and Red Alert. Although, as I said, really it's Command and Conquer. It's Command and Conquer 1 and Red Alert. I always hate the silly subtitle they called it. Tiberium Dawn. It's just a bit naff. Stop calling it Tiberium. It's Command and Conquer. The sequel was Command and Conquer Tiberium Sun. And the third game, which subtitle escapes me now, in Red Alert 3. In fact, most of the Command and Conquers you can get on Steam actually now. I think you can get the large majority. I can't remember if Red Alert 2's missing. You can get Red Alert 3 and you can get a Command and Conquer 3. Most of them did get console ports as well, along with the expansions, although they weren't always tied together. But see there, that's a huge. You've got a huge array of soundtracks.
Battle
I'm
control
actually going to quit
terminated.
this and go into mission select. Should I do a... I should be brave and do... Yep, let's do Blackout. Let's do a covert op mission. I say let's do a covert op mission. I will attempt it and die horribly because these missions were brutally hard. Although I do recall doing them all on PC a very, very long time ago in the 2000s. Covert Ops does actually regurgitate a lot of the intro, so all these ones you see there are actually intros from the original sort of ending, good or bad ending intros from the original main game, just reuses them. Here we have the infamous obelisk that were ridiculously powerful, and if you could build one into an enemy base, it got really hilariously fun. Notably the sandbags, you could, I think the sandbag, there were some bugs that you could sandbag around the base and things like that, which were quite hilarious.
Yo, I'm on it. No problem.
Okay, so I need to cut the power.
I'm on it. You got it.
So I'm probably going to fail this mission spectacularly, but just see how far I get. These missions were brutally hard. Okay, the flamethrower guys, you've got to be very careful. There's some quite cool enemies with the fact they blow up when they die, and you have to actually be quite careful, like grenaders will actually damage your own troops. So there was a level of friendly fire, something you don't always see. Often.
I'm on it.
Hi Rio Sub-Zero, thanks for joining us on the stream again. Nice to see you coming back.
Real tough guy.
Airstrike.
You got it.
Hope you're enjoying this. Look at
Keep 'em coming.
the new airstrike. Okay, I'm going to put that
Select
airstrike.
No problem. You got it. No problem. You got it. You got it. You got it. I'm on it. You got it. No problem.
So they can outrun
You got
that
it. I'm on
tank.
it. You got it. You got it. No problem.
Basically, they're the flamethrower tanks, and I want to stay. They've only got short range. If they do hit the commandos, they are probably dead from the get-go. So keep moving, boys. Keep moving.
I'm on it. You got it. I'm on it.
No.
Lost. Your mission is a failure.
Yes, nice to see you returning, viewer from our stream. So hello again, Rio Sub-Zero, and I'll just say hello again to Smasher Gaming. Yes, and that's what happens when you don't use your air replay mission yet. I'll give this one another shot because I did not deploy the airstrike actually, but the covert ops were pretty tough missions designed for players who had finished the game. So, and it's been a long time since I finished the original CNC.
Yes, sir. No problem.
I have actually got it installed, the original version installed on my PC via the fan mod, so I probably uninstall them now. Although it's still quite nice to actually have the original versions.
I'm on it. No problem. I'm on it.
Just what I do, I might keep them installed actually, just so they're not that big.
I'm on it.
That does make see the original intros just in there.
I'm on it. No problem. You got it. Yo. Keep them coming. Yo. You got it. Real tough guy. Real tough guy. Sir. No problem. No problem. No problem.
Airstrike ready.
I'm on it. You got tough guy. You got it.
Select target.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, so this time I'll do the smart thing and blow up the tank.
You got it. No problem. You got it. Yes, sir.
And that way, my guys, he can go to that one. He can go to that one. I do love the command.
Yes,
I got a present for you.
You got it. Yes, sir.
No, you shoot the enemy.
Yes, sir. You
can go to that one.
You got it.
Over here, and you can go to this one. And
keep them coming.
That
no
should
problem.
be.
I'm on it.
What's he's down.
Yes, sir. No problem. I'm on it. You got it. I'm on 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 it.
I'm just gonna hit this. Do I have toggle radar on that?
Reinforcements have arrived.
Ah, there we go. Okie dokie.
Yes, moving out. Affirmative. Acknowledge.
Yes, sir. I'm on it. You got it. No problem. No problem. No problem. I'm on it.
Yes, sir. Acknowledge. Moving out. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Yeah, no problem. I'm on it.
Vehicle moving out. Acknowledge. Moving out.
Yes, sir. No problem.
Let's get the command up without having a quick wander around.
I'm on it.
So I've got no idea
I'm
what
on
the
it.
base
You
is
got
at this
it.
point.
Vehicle moving out.
Yo.
Gun turrets there, which oh yeah, this we've blown up the obelisk.
You got it. I'm on
Power
it.
supplies.
I'm on
I
it.
need somewhere where we're not going to have gun turrets
Yes,
shooting
moving
me.
out.
Yes, sir. No problem. No problem. Yes, sir. I'm on it. No problem.
Unit moving out.
Yeah, I'm on it. I'm on
I
it.
suppose building near the enemy base is probably not a bad idea. Yeah.
I'm on it.
Okay. You
Yes.
can go down here
Moving
then.
out.
Yes, sir. You got it. No problem.
Just be on the safe side. I
I'm
will
on a
get
present for you.
my commando
You
block
got a
that
present
one.
for you.
Yes, sir. Moving out.
New construction options.
Yes, sir. I'm on a present for you. I've got a present
And
for
block
you.
that one.
Keep them coming. I'm on it. No problem.
And of course, I don't actually want my troops to go running through Tiberium, as it actually damages them.
Building. Construction complete.
Okay, the downside with this is
New
I'm going to need to
construction
probably
options.
block this wall.
I'm on it.
Unless I do the old connect, so
Airstrike ready. Building.
Let's get the refinery.
No problem. You got it. No problem. No problem.
Let's see how far I get. I'll probably jump into the Nod campaign fairly swiftly as well. Okie dokie.
Yes, sir.
Blow up the wall then.
Cancelled. Building. Construction
I'm on it.
complete.
I'm on it. Come on.
Plan B.
Cancelled.
I think you could build with sandbags, couldn't you? That was
Construction complete.
one of the clinchers. So I think I
Building.
had sandbags.
Construction complete. Building. On hold. Cancelled. Building.
I think that's one of the little.
Construction complete.
And you can sell sandbags, so basically, yeah. So
Building.
refinery. So I believe I can put the sandbags. Basically, I'll sell the sandbags, and then, although that probably means I've lost a few credits, but
Construction complete.
yeah, it means I can get the refinery
New
there.
construction options.
Sell,
Structure sold.
and I'll tell that to go over there because I
Yo,
don't
no
want to go
problem.
anywhere near anything else right now.
Building. Construction complete. Building.
I'm going to very quickly just block
Construction
the
complete.
entrance for a sec. And
Building.
the area's probably going to wonder what I'm doing.
Construction complete. Building. Construction complete. Building. Construction complete.
So that
Structure
one, that
sold.
one. Yeah, in you go there.
Structure sold.
And
Building.
I'll slap a barracks.
Construction complete. New construction
Yeah, yes, that means I've got my
options.
barracks outside, and my fort is, and refinery and main power plant are defended inside comm center silo.
Building. Construction complete.
So I'll just slap the. Oh, I can't. Shouldn't block the refinery, so. I'll get a weapons factory.
Building.
Oh, right.
Yo.
No,
Affirmative.
no, get.
Acknowledge.
Yes, sir. You got it. You got it. No problem.
Building.
Ah!
Unit lost. Our base is under attack.
Reporting. Yes, sir.
Unit ready. Building. Unit ready.
Yes.
Building. Unit
Yes.
ready. Building. Unit ready. Unit ready. Building. Unit ready. Unit ready. Building. Insufficient
Vehicle reported.
funds.
Moving out. Yes, sir. Right away, sir. You got it. Yes, sir.
Unit lost. Unit lost.
Affirmative. Moving out. Affirmative.
Select target. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost.
So this is what I mean about you have to be on your guard with these covert missions. I shouldn't have lost the 2 commandos so early. So I now have nothing to fight off my base. So, yep. That's what... These missions you need to be well prepared and sort of have a good idea of what you're doing. I mean, I know there's quick save and stuff, but I just thought I'd quickly show you one of those ones. We've done a dinosaur mission. Should I do a... I'm not sure what these 99, 97 missions... What did the 99 missions appear in? GDI Special Ops Mission 1. I'm going to do this one. I'm not sure what this one is. Oh, we actually have a mission briefing, do we? One of these were included in the Platinum versions or something.
Reinforcements have arrived.
Time to rock and roll. No problem. I'm on it. No problem. I'm on a present for you.
Unit lost. Your mission is a failure.
Oh, these are the N64 missions. Replay mission, yes. That was an N64. That was an N64 intro, of course.
Reinforcements have arrived.
I was wondering what the 99 ones were. Of course, the I totally forgot about the N64 version. Yes, we do actually have it. It was one that used the expansion port as well.
I'm on it. I'm on it. You got it.
Unit lost.
Oh, you got to go the long way around.
Your mission is a failure.
The Saturn's version had a training map, as I recalled, so I'm going to... I'm actually going to have a quick gander at the Sega Saturn codes and check that the Saturn missions are included, because if not...
Reinforcements have arrived.
Oh, I will be flagging that because I want to check, because usually the Saturn stuff tends to be forgotten about over the PlayStation, like N64.
Yo, no problem. I'm on it. You got it. I'm on it. I'm on it. I'm on it. You got it. Ha ha. You got it. No problem. I've got a present for you. Keep 'em coming. I'm on it. No problem. No problem. You got it. I'm on it. You got it. No problem. You got it. Real tough guy. I'm on it. Keep 'em coming. I'm on it. I'm on it. I've got a present for you.
Airstrike. Your mission is a failure.
You know, that's actually the biggest danger when you blow up SAM sites and stuff. Yeah, let's give it one last shot. Basically, with the commando, when you blow things up, you do get troops come out and they will shoot you. A bit like you blow up a build. It's basically like in the real thing, you sort of blow up buildings, survive, they sort of crawl out. So there's an element of you have to be aware of what's going to come out at you.
You got it. I'm on it. You got it. You got it. No problem. That was left-handed.
The other
No
thing is you've got to
problem. You
watch the
got it.
flamers when you blow them up.
I got a present for you. No problem. No problem.
You've also got to be
You
aware
got
you
it.
mustn't
No
you must
problem.
let the commander basically do the explosive action and not interrupt it.
Real
'Cause
come on,
else,
guy.
if you when you click on it, he actually walks up to it and
I'm on
then
it.
walks away. If you
I'm on it.
interrupt him and then walk
Real
away, you
tough
can be
guy.
too close to then take damage.
I'm
So,
out a present for
just
you.
let him go do his own little thing, and you see they'll pop.
I'm on it. No problem.
Ooh, ooh.
I'm on it.
And it's that flamer,
You
those
got it.
flamers.
No problem. You
A
got
green
it.
tree there. Okay, so we've
Select
now got
That was
access to
left-handed.
those airstrikes. So let's hope they get the plane. Let's hope they get.
No problem. That was left-handed. You got it. I'm on it. I'm on a present for you.
Okay, but the trouble
on
I've
a
got now is
present
my
for you.
commando is quite badly damaged, so I'm hoping he's going to get a... The medic was not in this one, so the medic wasn't added to Red Alert, I recall.
Reinforcement. Your mission is a failure.
Oh, come on, the thing was just coming in. No, I won't do that one again. I think we were nearly there, so it's good enough for me. It's nice it's actually got the passwords there, if you go actually try them on your GDI. And I said, I'm going to check. The Saturn's one definitely had a couple of special missions, and if they're missing, then I will double check. I do hope all the Saturn missions are in here. I think, was this the Saturn's one? Which I really want to check. And I should actually start the mission. I don't think the Saturn's one did have something like secret mission or something. Or wasn't definitely there was definitely at least one Saturn's mission. There was definitely, I think, at least one Sega Saturn secret mission.
Yes, sir. You got it. 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 No problem.
Now, was this that one? I'm just actually going to find it. I'm just going to quickly dig through Sega Saturn. What were the Sega Saturn secret missions? Desktop. Let's find out. I know there was cheats for Saturn. Cheats. Okay, maybe there weren't any in the Saturn's one. Yeah, but I think build up codes. There is the Virusoid. I want to check if that is in the Command Conquer HD Remaster. Like a virus spreading tank, which is always quite fun. I'm going to check that up with the.
Come on!
Battle control terminated.
So let's actually do the silencing Nikumbe in the campaign for Nod.
So, you're the new addition to the Brotherhood. Well, I'm Seth. Just Seth. From God to Cain to Seth. I am his right hand, and I have a task for you. This is Nikumba, and he is causing the Brotherhood much grief. His views do not coincide with ours, and that makes him dangerous. Silence him.
Yes, that is the classic sign of a dictator. Oh, this guy doesn't agree with us. Let's bump him off.
Reinforcements have arrived.
Yes, sir.
Interesting bit of trivia. The guy who played Seth was actually one of the artists, and when Seth meets the Cropper, they said the guy who then had to animate him being, because basically when they did the scene, they just, I think they didn't fire the gun or anything. They had to add that in post production. Sure enough, because he was the artist, he then had to animate it himself being shot. Because you're aware you don't get Cain at the start. Basically, Seth tries to launch a. There's a point where Seth tries to go behind Cain's back to launch his own offensive, and thus you become Cain's right hand. There's a really good. So one of the things about Red Alert was Cain does appear in the original Red Alert, and they basically implied that in the original Red Alert that there was a setup for changing the future. So Tiberium Red Alert, I think, was supposed to lead on to Tiberium Sun, i.e. they'd changed the past. Stop. I got the impression GDI was supposed to win in the original campaign, and they do Red Alert. Now, because Cain appears in it, it was quite a cool thing, but they never carried on that tangent. So Cain only appeared in the first Red Alert, not the second or the third one, although characters from the first one do later then re-emerge in the, I think some of the DLC characters or the expansion pack characters appeared later on in Red Alert 2 and 3. So I kind of always felt that Cain should have popped up at the end of Red Alert 3 and just gone, we've done it now, Commander, the GDI doesn't stand, the GDI won't stand a chance. One of the annoying things is they never got Shepard back as well. I don't know much about the actor who played Shepard, whether he was also a member of the staff, but it would have been nice if they'd actually had Shepard turn up in one of them again, because he was like the GDI commander. I know they had a lot more senior actors with James Earl Jones, Michael Ironside, and quite a few other big names, but Shepard always felt like the head of the GDI, and all the others always felt a bit like that. I think Tiberium Sun, the plot, I suppose because Tiberium Sun's set in the future, but I think the plot with Tiberium Sun lost its way a bit. I think they should have made Tiberium Sun a modern day thing, carried on the whole conflict. I think by making it a futuristic thing, they kind of lost its way a bit with the plot. The plot went from being, in the original game, quite a sort of modern day realistic thing with a small sci-fi element with Tiberium. There wasn't actually that much sci-fi element in the original. The only really sci-fi element was Tiberium.
You got it.
But that was quite nice. I think with the later ones got a bit too sci-fi and kind of lost their way. Tiberium Sun also made the huge mistake of not... So Tiberium Sun is the only one where the character is not referred... Basically in all the other games, including all the sequels, other than Tiberium Sun, you were directly spoken to as if you were the commander. In Tiberium Sun, you actually have actors portraying a character who's supposed to be the commander, who's supposed to be you, and that kind of falls apart. It's not quite the same. You are the commander. And StarCraft did it as well. StarCraft also made the same mistake of not always encapsulating that as well, like the Magistrate, who's supposed to be the character you play as. Again, some of the characters that were later said to be, oh, this was the player character, didn't make any sense. Like in StarCraft 1, the player characters inferred to be some quite high-ranking Protoss. Now, some suggestions it was supposed to be Eldaris, but Eldaris is just like a field character. And Eldaris strikes me as a low-ranking Protoss. Only a senior-ranking Protoss would be actually commanding the forces. That doesn't make any sense. So it's a shame you didn't get that elements with the StarCraft as well. At least if you were going to have them, they could have done the total like war. Not total war, total annihilation, where you basically have you actually had the player character who you controlled on the field of like some sort of device tapping away, and then whenever you ordered someone, you'd actually see them tapping away on that pad. But basically, always felt that the characters that should have been in StarCraft 2 were the player characters, who should have been quite interesting characters, never materialised, and they were always like, oh well, this character was supposed to be controlling them, and it was like, nah. Nah, Blizzard, you kind of screwed up your own story, because the character that the Protoss that you've always felt like you were quite a senior Protoss, and this never felt reflected in the story. StarCraft 2 story is rubbish anyway. It really is just rubbish compared to. I think honestly, there's definitely a sequel thing with a lot of these RTSs where lightning never seems to strike twice. Command and Conquer did it well with Red Alert, but StarCraft didn't get this. I mean, Blizzard did well with Warcraft 1 and 2, and 3 was definitely an improvement, although 3 perhaps not the big jump people were expecting. StarCraft 1 was fantastic. StarCraft 2 is just such a disappointment in terms of RTS. This is a much better game than StarCraft 2, I have to be brutally honest. In fact, I think the RTS genre has actually struggled because the Command and Conquer has basically been decimated by EA. Unfortunately, I think this is the first time EA. I mean, number 4 was not a good product.
Mission accomplished.
And of course, they shut down Westwood. There's a sense of irony. They shut down Westwood. The guys who were in Westwood set up Petroglyph, because Westwood had a really good pedigree. They did not make bad games. We've got Blade Runner, which we covered on the channel as well. Brilliant game. They did the Legends of Crystalla point and click adventures before the Command and Conquer game. Westwood did a ton of really good products, and they actually did some really great original games. It's a shame they started ending up doing like constant Command and Conquers, because Blade Runner is a really great point and click adventure. And if the guys at Petroglyph are listening, yeah, it'd be nice if you actually did another point and click adventure at some point. Just expand your repertoire of games is something I'd say to all developers. Don't just stick to one thing. Sometimes developers, when they're out of their comfort zone, create better games. I mean, the case in point being Panzer Dragoon Saga. They hadn't even the team behind them. They only ever made shooters before, and then they ended up making one of the best RPGs ever made. Often that's actually the case when good teams make a game they don't know anything about, then do things that you wouldn't normally do in the genre. Sometimes that's often how things get the balls moving forward.
Back so soon?
As I think the RTS genre has stagnated a bit.
For too many years, GDI forces have maintained a stranglehold on Egypt. It's fallen upon us to liberate these citizens crying out for a better way of life. Kane wants to establish a base here to eliminate the smothering presence of GDI. It's too risky to move our heavy forces in, so we want you to sneak in with a few expendable troops and set up a forward attack post. By the way, there's more than enough Tiberium for you to harvest. That should easily pay your expenses. If you are detected, you fail. If you fail, you die.
Yes, the Brotherhood having a very much do or die ethos. And I do have to credit, I'm probably going to pronounce his name wrong, Joe Coogan as Kane. He has done a brilliant job as that character. Okay, the last game I haven't actually played for, but I have watched the story for it, and the plot for that was very silly. But up until that point, there was the plot was pretty good, even though I wasn't overly keen on some of the sci-fi elements. But he has done a brilliant job as Kane. Even in 4, the one reason to actually watch 4 is to see Joe Coogan's performance as Kane, that he has made that character, and it's just such a slightly over the top. Sometimes you're not quite sure if he's a hero or a villain, Kane. You're never quite sure. He's not quite as evil as you think he is, and seems always has like side objectives and motives, which is always quite good actually, having slightly ambivalent characters. The thing is, Kane is likable. Is the one thing he's very charismatic, very likable. So you could A, see him as a leader, and B, he's even as a villain, he's likable. It's not actually a good idea in terms of story writing. Having a villain is so detested that I mean, the classic one's Game of Thrones. Joffrey Baratheon, and the Bolton bastard character, Lord Ramsay, are just very predictable villains that are very uninteresting, because they basically just do horrible things to people. So the only question is when you're going to die. And if the only question is, I mean, some people say, oh, they're quite really good. Well, actually, no, because basically it's just a character that's so two-dimensional. You're just like, you instantly, the only question you ask is, when's this character going to die? Because they're going to die, because you know they are, because they're so evil. Unless it's just, you just know that's going to happen, and it gets very predictable. So you always want your villains to be a bit more subtle, a bit more something that you're not quite sure about. Often it's actually better to have very grey characters who fall in between the lines, so you can understand the reasons why they've gone their path and why other characters have gone their other path. So that way you have a very balanced approach, which is something I think it's a really good way to write Riven. If they're two-dimensional, then the only question is, oh, this character's going to die at some point, we're just waiting for when. And that was the problem with Game of Thrones, characters like Joffrey Baratheon. Interestingly, speaking about Game of Thrones, the White Walkers, or the Others as they're known in the books, absolutely got butchered in the TV series. They're actually realising, having sort of seen what the books do to them, the Others are almost like an additional house in the way they're reading the books. Although you don't hear much about them, there's some interesting things about them. I thought these are actually really interesting characters. They're basically, in fact, one of them is implied to have previously been, there's supposedly one of the characters had previously married an Other in the past. And there are a few other things. I actually think there's another case of where they made the White Walkers two-dimensional, and actually in the books they seem to have far more interesting, and you almost could have done some proper sublines with the White Walkers and asking, are they actually bad? I mean, you weren't entirely sure, because there's an interesting bit in the books where apparently one of the Free Folk makes mention the fact they were travelling down with the White Walkers a lot. They basically travelled alongside them, but they didn't attack them. Now that's a weird thing with how they mentioned that they were travelling almost parallel in the books with the Free Folk also fleeing the north. So that's quite an interesting bit. I was quite interested in reading that, and I thought, well, this actually shows you how you could have made the Others as they're known, or the White Walkers. I mean, they're called White Walkers, but in the books they're often referred to as the Others, something almost like another house, and you could have done something very interesting. And that would have been a very interesting end to Game of Thrones if they didn't end up battling the White Walkers and end up having to make peace with them and the Wildlings. Something much more, and effectively end up with 9 houses of Westeros. Sadly, the TV series didn't go for that path, but yeah, I actually think it would have been better if they'd ended up with having 9, basically had a council at the end and just melted the throne. Melting the throne was quite cool, but I think the thing is, the real villain, Littlefinger, didn't really get the up-and-comings he deserved in the TV series. He just got bumped off in the second to last season, and it felt very...
Silos needed.
Didn't feel satisfactory, should we say. But that's just a point about how Joe Coogan, I know I'm just slightly digressing, but he has absolutely made that character, and Kane is a very likeable character. Despite the fact being a villain, he is very likeable. He is a character you're kind of villain you'd quite like to chat to. It's really good, and kudos to the actor. He's really done a great job as him. I know he actually directed a lot of cutscenes as well, so actually there's some really subtle touches watching the making of footage where they're like talking about like, this is what you do with the props and things. And I actually recently was an extra on a TV movie. I'm not going to say which channel or whatnot. It's due out later this year actually, but that was quite a nice experience, and it's interesting having done that, actually watching some of the footage. I was thinking, oh, that's he was giving directions, some really subtle things with how, like the things of Einstein fiddling with the clock in the red alert things, that was them saying, yeah, you should be doing this. It's really nice touches. It's like, yeah, it's something you don't notice, but actually when you watch the scene again, it's something you always pay attention to. The fact that Einstein in the red alert intros is often fiddling with spectacles and the watch, and that adds something to it. It's a really subtle thing you don't necessarily notice, but something you're aware of, and it's stuff like that that's really good direction, because it gives side character preference even though you don't necessarily, so something you won't necessarily realise. I see if I can blow up their refinery. Oh, I'm going to drive through my people. So yeah, your AI will often stand in the way of... Light up, come on lads. Yes, okay, so they're all going to come to me, but I better build some troops because these guys are going to... we're going to fight off fairly well.
Unit ready. Building.
You got it. It's...
Unit
I'll...
Building.
No, I'm going to wrap up.
Unit ready.
I'm not going to wrap up just yet. I will actually do this mission, so...
Unit lost.
And then I'll wrap up. But yeah, let me know if you want me to do Red Alert tomorrow and show off some of the missions and stuff. This is, so again, this is available now. It came out on Friday. Really, really good port. As I mentioned, my only slight complaint is the fact you can't use the... Eep. They've blown up my forces.
Building.
Ready and waiting.
Our base is under attack. Unit ready. Building. Unit ready. Building.
Although they can't build vehicles at this point, so it's time. It's going to be a case of I storm them, they storm me. Who storms first?
Unit ready.
Do I want to build an engineer to be cheeky? And
building.
Go. I do like the fact you can now stack build as well. That does make very helpful.
Unit ready. Building.
So yes, this is a dream come true, as I mentioned. Fantastic port. And I'm actually going to double check about the Virusoid, because that should be the Virusoid is the one thing I know that is that in this. Oh come on lads, don't walk around there, you'll get yourself killed not going in together. This is what happens when the AI does not do a good job. I want them all to sit there, they all shoot, and my guys outgun theirs and do...
Building. Unit ready. Building. Unit ready. Unit
Take
ready.
the engineer out.
Building. Unit ready. Unit ready.
Actually tell him to run into there and also take control of that barracks.
Unit lost.
No, take their money,
GDI building captured.
And we'll blow up their barracks.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Our base is under attack.
Got it. Ready and waiting. Yes,
Now, of course, if I was doing a slightly more tactical run, I'd actually take control. Taking control of silos is actually the best idea. That way you steal their money.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Just because I want to zoom through at the end of this stream. So I hope you all enjoyed it. Nice to have a couple people comment on the stream. It's always nice. Do let me know if you want me to do Red Alert tomorrow. So if you do want me to do Red Alert, please do shout in the comments now, or leave a comment in the video if you're watching this back. I know not everyone can watch these streams live, so...
Affirmative. Moving out. Yes.
Quite much point in that one. I might just capture.
Building.
Got it.
I think we've probably crippled their base now, so all that's left for me to do is take... so as mentioned, one of the big changes was the fact that you couldn't... In this one, you can literally walk an engineer into...
Lost.
Right away, sir.
an enemy base very, very quickly and just take everything. So basically because you can capture anything at any health in this one. In Red Alert that was changed so engineers would do a set amount of damage. So basically in order to capture something in Red Alert, the building had to be on red, which was a much more fairer tactic, because even though I'll admit the classic tactic was to have a couple of Humvees, drive them in, deploy the troops, have one Humvee packed full of engineers, drop off the 5 engineers, have them run quickly into the various buildings and see how much havoc you could do. And the classic thing was to take a building in an enemy base, just immediately sell it, and that way you would then have tons. You'd just decimate their gods, take the silo, sell it, and you'd just have loads of 3 resources. Or you could capture the buildings and then you get to build their troops and attack units. Indeed, it was quite fun if you could capture the main base and you had access to all the GDI and nod stuff in one mission. Great fun. I do like actually one of the cooler things is that the nod HUD was slightly different to the GDI HUD, whereas the GDI HUD's sort of more formal and the nod one's much more sort of chaotic and rampant, implying because the nod you always felt like they were a terrorist group and a bit more rough and ready, whereas the GDI are much more professional backed organisation, like similar to the UN. Yeah, UN actually gets mentioned in this. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave that there. That has been a taste of the Command and Conquer. Well, it's the Command and Conquer Remastered Collection. Absolutely fantastic. Highly recommend it. So we've got, as mentioned, you do get the original Command and Conquer with its expansions and all the additional missions. So that's fantastic, console missions, etc. And you get Red Alert as well. The same treatment, really top quality stuff, fantastic quality. This game has hundreds of hours of gameplay. I mean, the GDI campaign will probably take you about 17 hours, let alone the nod one, let alone all the expansion missions, let alone then the Red Alert campaign, let alone so really absolute fantastic stuff. Kudos to all those involved. It really is good quality. It is available now on Steam. I'm hopeful this comes to consoles at some point. This really is a fantastic version. I would really like to see it on consoles as well, just because I do like I don't tend to play PC as much as I used to. I did when I was sort of my early 20s. These days I much prefer the console sitting in the living room rather than sitting on a PC. It's just a thing as I get a bit older, something I've just noticed. I do still play PC, but I kind of prefer consoles a bit these days, a bit more relaxed, I always find. So it'd be nice if this gets a console port. I think they are going to get released on console, but I think it's just a case of they're going to do this first and then do the console versions after. So it'd be great when it does come out on console. I do hope it does get a console, so hopefully I expect Petroglyph probably working on console ports as we speak. At least I hope they are. So yes, this has been CNC Tiberium Dawn Remastered. Let me know if you want me to do Red Alert tomorrow. I might put a quick feeler out, see if people want me to do it, or if they do something else. So I could stream some other PC games. Although I do have to be a bit careful with the actual. The problem is, if I wanted to stream some of the more modern games, it gets a bit tricky because I'm having to play I was supposedly running it in lower resolution. It should be good, but ideally, I know a lot of the pro streamers actually have 2 PCs. You have one PC that's your gaming rig and one PC that's actually your stream PC. Whereas I'm using the capture deck and the gaming rig, so I do have to slightly balance resources a little bit. But other than that, I think it's all good. So I might do a few more PC games this week. So I probably will do Red Alert tomorrow. It's really good fun replaying this. So this has been the CNC Remaster. That leaves me to say thank you for watching, everyone. As always, I wish you a good night, a good evening, a good morning, or a good afternoon, wherever you are in the world today. I've been your host for this randomised gaming video, Random Gamer Riven, and of course I should just double check and confirm, I don't think I mentioned too much to start. This has been Command & Conquer Tiberium Dawn Remastered, part of the Command & Conquer Remastered Collection. It has been developed by Petroglyph and Lemon Sky Studios. It was originally developed by Westwood, and a large chunk of their staff is now Petroglyph, and it was published by Electronic Arts, I should say. Electronic Arts, or known as EA, but Electronic Arts is their full name. And I do like to remind thank you for watching. This has been it's a superb, I can just say it's absolutely superb. I highly recommend it. If you're a fan of the genre, buy it. If you haven't played the genre, buy it. If you just want a massive video game that's just fantastic, buy it. So unless basically you absolutely loathe RTS games, you should still buy it anyway to support them. But yes, basically brilliant game, fantastic. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this stream. I will finish for now. I'm actually going to be doing some testing on PS1 games for a little bit, seeing which ones I can discover can be forced into 60 Hz. We do now have a way of actually discovering some old boot discs that does seem to partially work. I loosely represent partially, but it does mean there are a few PAL games you can force successfully into 60 Hz without issue, although a large chunk of them are looking like they're PAL optimized. I might actually dig out Command Conquer and see how that fares on the PS1 being forced into 60 Hz. It's always interesting to see, saves you having to buy on additional NTSC versions. But anyway, thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to finish for now, and yes, just basically buy this collection. It is fantastic. And if you were someone who actually worked on this, I'd just like to congratulate you. Fantastic job, brilliant job all round to all the developers, all the fans who've worked on this, the EA who've done this and published this. Fantastic. My only question now is, when are the console ports, and is the Virusoid in it from the Sega Saturn version? Anyway, that's it from me. Have a good night, everyone. I will be here with you tomorrow at 9:30 to stream again. Good night for now, ladies and gentlemen.